Hello, and welcome to another episode of Sam Reading Smut. Today, I will be reviewing Call of Fathoms by Emma Hamm. This is the fourth book of the Deepwater series, and if you've followed my reviews on Patreon, you will know this is one of my favorite series. It's the series that got me into monster smut. And I thought it was going to be the last book in the series, but there's going to be a fifth one! I'm so excited. If you have not read any of Emma Hamm's books, go out and do so now, and I highly recommend the Deepwater series is where you should start. As in the other three books, we pick up right where we left off, which is the team is going to go investigate Tao. I assume that's how you say it? T-A-U. Tao? And this time we have Deep Strider Fortress, who is our main merman character. If you're unfamiliar with the series and haven't watched my other reviews, which if you haven't gone and joined my Patreon, go ahead and do it. What are you waiting for? Each series follows a different couple, so you get the perspective every other chapter of the merman and then the human woman. I'm really excited to have Fortress as the main character because he's a bit older than all the other merman characters. He originally had a wife who died, who was killed by the humans, and he has a kid. So he has a little more depth than the other merman characters, I would say. And he's from a different culture of mermen than the other three, which is also really interesting. He's technically the biggest one too. And I know, if you've read the series before, you know they're not called mermen, they're called Udins. Come after me. But one of the cool things about Fortress and his clan of Udins, I don't know if that's the technical term, I can't quite fully remember. They can see the future, and he's already seen his death. So this whole book is him going to Tao, volunteering to go there because he knows he's gonna die there, which is really fascinating. And then the human woman who becomes his love interest, Alexia, is a genetically engineered human clone. We jump a little harder into sci-fi in this book than we do in the others. If you're unfamiliar, it's a very steampunky world, and now we're like really diving head on into sci-fi, which I honestly really loved. It was answering a lot of questions and giving me some answers that I had from reading the previous books. But anyway, returning to Alexia. She has a problem with her new genetic coding, where she is starting to feel emotions, because you learn throughout the series that they kind of drug the clones so that they don't feel very much, and it's not working on her anymore. And that's kind of where these two start to get interesting. For reference, there are 3 smut scenes in this book. They start on pages 236, 349, and 444. You're welcome. Compared though to the other books in the series, these were not my favorite smut scenes. And part of that is Alexia is a virgin. Because you know when you're a clone, and this whole kind of world is actually, city is all essentially clones of the first people who made the humans have to go live underwater. Ooh, that was a bit of a spoiler. Sorry. I was punished. I kicked the camera. She's seen sex because she is the guard of one of the ancients. I believe that's what they call them, the ancients? The originals. My bad. The originals. They're called the originals. So she's seen sex because she's not allowed to leave her original alone, hardly ever, except to train. It's interesting, to say the least. I would give it a spicy rating 3 out of 5. It's good, but I got used to a certain standard with the other books that this one just didn't quite meet. And I get it because she is a virgin and he is bigger than the other mermen in more than one way. So it totally makes sense, but And then this is just kind of a trigger warning that isn't in it, but I think it's good for people to know before reading it. Because of the drugs the originals put the clones on so they don't feel and stuff, she does go through a withdrawal period. So if that is something that would be triggering for you, just like know that going in, because it's not mentioned in the trigger warnings. That also brings up a lot of big feelings, as you can imagine. Also, if you haven't read the other books, another trigger warning would be he is a widower. So there is a lot of deep processing grief going on. But this is a series I would say do not read it out of order. You need to read it in order or you're going to be really confused if you start at book 4, okay? Really confused. In general, I really enjoyed this book. I liked how we got to dive into the world a bit more, but it's not my favorite of the 4 books so far. I would say it's actually my 4th one. Like if I were to rank them, this would be my 4th one. But that doesn't mean it's not good. I give it a 9 out of 10. It was still really, really good. It just wasn't my favorite. And I think that's because we are getting a lot of information, which is crucial and important. And they were things I had questions about, but it is a lot. Sometimes it is a lot. Also, I think I just don't like the virgin trope that happens sometimes in Smut. It's not my favorite thing. I think that's why it's not a 10. And I am very excited for the 5th book because we met a new character in this book who's almost like an ancient ocean god, I guess is how I would describe him. I have a feeling he's gonna be the love interest, merman, Udine character in the next one. And one of the clones of the originals is going to be the human love interest, which is gonna be fascinating because the originals, so they've been alive for like ever and ever. It's essentially like if you've seen the movie in The Island, it's very similar to that, where they've been cloning copies of themselves and just using bits and parts and then throwing them away, which is horrifying. And there are tons of them in this city, which is scary. But at the end of the book, one of them, I know it's a bit of a spoiler, but it doesn't spoil the whole book, falls to the bottom and you're just like, oh, they're gonna meet each other. They're gonna meet each other. And she's not dead. Interesting. If you're interested in this series, I would highly recommend you go follow Emma Hamm on her social media, especially her TikTok. She is in the TikTok shop, which is where I got this book, and it's signed, which I love. She also always has such great artwork inside her covers. Like, look at that. And look at the chapter headings. Amazing. So I highly recommend go follow her on social media because she's also coming out with special editions of these books that have like embossing borders, binding. This is binding, but you know what I mean, like the fancy pages. If that's something you're into, I highly recommend that because you can get it signed. I don't believe those books are available in any bookstores or on Amazon or anything like that, so that would be, I'd recommend going to her social media and buying from her directly. All right, and until next time, happy reading.